Almost 3 months ago, I test rode a Plus bike for the first time and was quite amazed with the traction and the way it rode. So I set off on a 2-month journey by purchasing a Plus bike and doing 2 months of testing. This video wraps up Project 275 Plus. So I am bringing Project 275 Plus to a close. Before I continue on in this video, I just want to give a shout out to my local bike shop, Bike Works of Gainesville, who really made this project possible by helping me get my hands on this bike. So thanks guys. So I said quite a bit in the last video that I made where I geared it a little bit more towards someone who's newer to Plus bikes, someone who wants to find out what they are. But I think experienced riders may get some tips out of that video as well. So I'm not going to say a whole lot in this video. Again, this is kind of my wrap-up video. The first thing that I want to make, the first point I want to make is that plus size tires, plus bikes are not going to replace standard size tires. And that was something that I kind of wanted to find out for myself when I went into this project. I've concluded that there are still applications where I don't think you're going to see a standard size tire go anywhere. The first thing is for cross-country racing. Because of the climbing aspect of cross-country racing, you're going to need a lighter standard size tire. That's where the plus size tire for me really slowed down the most, was in the climbing situation. Descending, I honestly don't think a plus size tire would be any slower. In fact, I think there's applications where it would be faster on a cross-country course. But for cross-country racing, I think you're going to see the standard size tire stick around for quite a while. If there's one thing that plus size tires have done for cross-country and trail riding, is it's shown us the benefit of bigger tires. And after doing this test, I would not hesitate at all to run 2.4s on a cross-country bike. There's a lot of benefit for bigger tires. If you think about it, a 1.75 or 1.7 size tire, kind of in that range, is too small for cross-country racing. A 3.0 is too big. So there has to be some middle ground, and I think that middle ground has shifted more towards bigger tires. And so, like I said, I would run a 2.4 easily on a cross-country bike. Now let's talk about trail riding. I think that for me, 2.6 size tires are the holy grail for trail riding. Now, I think for some people, 3.0s or 2.8s. You really have to test for yourself. The benefit of 2.6s, and I mentioned this in my video when I put them on the Trance. The benefit is you still get pretty strong sidewalls. So a 2.4, 2.5, 2.6, you're getting some good traction, not as good as a plus size tire, but you're getting good traction, and you're also benefiting from stronger sidewalls and a lighter tire. And one of the biggest things is you can run it on what would be considered a standard rim. Now my Trance has pretty wide rims. I think Giant did a really good job speccing wide rims on that bike to make it really versatile. But my point is that plus size tires have given us the realization that sometimes bigger is better, and I think that applies to cross-country racing as well. So there is a good middle ground, and I think each rider is going to have to find that. For my advice, I think a 2.3 to 2.4 is going to be the best size for cross-country racing. I think for trail riding, a 2.4 to a 2.6 if you want a standard tire, and then of course a 2.8 to 3.0 is going to be great for a lot of riders. Now some trail riders will also want to stick with a standard size tire because of the way it feels. So plus size tires do have a little bit of a flex to them when you're pushing hard and deflecting off of objects in a corner. So some people are just going to like the way a standard size tire feels. And I would say that it takes more skill to ride a standard size tire. I think that, like I said in that video that I just made about what is a plus bike, a beginner rider is really going to benefit from a plus size tire. It's going to help them grow in confidence on rougher terrain without feeling like they're sliding out. So it does take more skill to ride a standard size tire, and because of that, I do love the option of running a plus size tire and then switching to a 29er wheel set, because it's going to help your skill improve. When you're coming into a corner, learning how to feather the brakes and not apply too much brake so you don't skid on the trail, it just takes more skill with a standard size tire. But a standard size tire can be more precise. So as you're developing your skills, learning how to pick out lines, you can develop that skill better with a standard tire. One thing that I want to mention that I don't think I have in any of the videos in this series is the one drawback to a bike that fits 29er tires and 27.5 plus compared to a regular trail bike 27.5 standard tire is the fact that you do have to have longer chain stays. So with a bike that's geared only to be a 27.5 standard trail bike, so not plus, you can have shorter chain stays, which if you've watched some of my videos, that's one thing that I really like in a bike. I think it really helps the handling of the bike, and you can make the bike more stable by making a longer front center. So in other words, from the distance from the bottom bracket to the front axle, that's how I think you can increase the stability and keep the chain stays shorter and have a bike that handles really well. So I just wanted to make that point. So I'll link the video that I just made on what is a plus size bike and who should ride one. I'll link that video below if you haven't seen that. There's more information that I talk about plus size tires that I'm not going to repeat in this video. So that's going to wrap up Project 275 Plus. In case you're curious, in case you're wondering, I have decided to sell the plus bike. Not because I don't like it. I really like this bike. But putting 2.6s on the Trance gives me that feel that I get with a plus size bike of having more traction. And also, for me, the magic number is 2 mountain bikes, a cross-country bike and a full-on trail bike. If I was only going to have one mountain bike, that's it right there. It's a plus size bike, not necessarily a hardtail, so that is a hardtail. Not necessarily a hardtail, but a bike that can fit plus size tires and 29er tires. It is the holy grail of versatility. So whether you're a hardtail person or a full suspension, and I do want to kind of repeat one thing that I said in the last video, and a hardtail plus bike can be the poor man's full suspension bike. I was riding with some guy, or saw some guys up in Brevard last week, and both of them were on plus size bikes, and they were hardtails, and they were like, this is the poor man's full suspension. It really does make a big difference on a hardtail. So my point is, the plus size hardtail or the plus size full suspension can really be the one bike. And it seems like in the mountain bike industry, there's always been that term quiver killer, which I don't like and a lot of people don't like. But a plus size bike that fits 29er tires could be the quiver killer, depending on your needs. If you don't race and you want a trail bike, or if you do race and you want a 29er and you want to hit the trails the next day, perfect option. So I belabor that point enough. So again, I am selling the plus bike, like I said. And the other issue is I've been shopping for kayaks for the family for a while. We've been talking about getting kayaks, so that will help fund the family kayak budget. So 2 mountain bikes, 1 cross bike. That's going to be my fleet. So thanks for sticking with me in Project 275 Plus. It's been quite an adventure. I've learned a lot. Hopefully you have too. Again, questions or comments, leave them below. Thanks for watching.